You know, in the world of banking, trust is pretty much the whole game. But what happens when AI starts calling the shots, making those critical decisions? How do you actually prove that the data and the models behind it are reliable? Well, today we're diving into a new way of thinking about this called CoComply, which introduces something called a certification layer to answer that exact question.
So this is the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's what regulators are constantly asking banks. You've got these incredibly complex AI models, just massive mountains of data. How can you really, truly prove that your systems are reliable? This is honestly the central challenge for the entire industry right now.
And this slide just nails the problem. On the left, you've got the old school approach. Stacks of documentation, workflows, policies, all that stuff. And yeah, it's important, but it doesn't give you what regulators actually need. What they really need is on the right, a certified trust signal, a clear, provable sign that things are okay. There's just this huge disconnect between the process we've always followed and the proof we need today.
Okay, let's talk about the bank's trust problem. Why isn't the old way of doing things enough anymore? To make this a little more real, let's imagine a bank. We'll call it Main Street Bank. Like a lot of institutions, they're finding that in a world driven by AI, their old methods for proving compliance, well, they just don't cut it anymore. The whole game has changed.
I mean, just think about what a bank like Main Street is dealing with. The regulations are always changing. It's a moving target. Their governance processes are often still super manual and scattered across different departments. They're trying to modernize, moving to the cloud, and using new platforms like Databricks and Snowflake. And on top of all that, they're rolling out AI faster than ever. So even after spending a ton of money, proving their data is trustworthy is this constant uphill battle.
So clearly, we need a new approach. We've got to move from this world of abstract governance, policies and documents, to something much more concrete, actual certification.
So what do we even mean by certification here? It's a really key idea. And it's not just some rubber stamp of approval. It's a real active process of verifying that an asset, whether it's a piece of data or an AI model, checks every single box. Is it aligned with regulations? Does it comply with internal policies? Are the controls effective? Is the data quality any good? It's all about proof, not just promises.
And this isn't just some abstract concept. We're talking about certifying the real-world assets that make the bank run. Things like your core data sets, critical data elements, those all-important regulatory reports, dashboards, models, and even entire AI systems. Each one of these can now carry a verifiable seal of trust.
All right, so how does this actually work? Let's get into the certification workflow. We're going to follow Sally, a governance lead at our Main Street Bank, and see how she gets the job done. This is the heart of the whole process. So here's the 5-step playbook Sally uses. First, you ingest the regulatory context. Then you map your own policies. Third, assemble an AI workforce. More on that in a sec. Fourth, connect to all your existing tech. And finally, the big payoff. You certify the asset. Let's walk through it. The first 2 steps are all about building the platform's brain. First, Sally feeds it all the external rulebooks. Guidance from the OCC, the FDIC, all of it. Then, she connects the dots by mapping the bank's own internal policies to those outside rules. What you get are these 2 super smart intelligence layers that form the foundation for everything else.
Now this is where it gets really cool. Step 3 is assembling an AI workforce. Sally doesn't hire a team of people. She builds a team of AI coworkers. Each one has a specific job. There's a regulatory monitor always watching for new rules, a lineage verifier that traces data from start to finish, and an evidence auditor that automatically gathers proof. It's like having a dedicated 24/7 digital team for governance.
And this is super important. For step 4, connecting to the tech, this system doesn't ask you to rip out everything you already have. Not at all. It integrates. It works across your cloud platforms like AWS and Azure, your data platforms like Databricks, and even your existing governance tools. It just sits on top of everything, finding and scanning assets no matter where they are.
So that brings us to the big payoff, the outcome. What do you get after all that? It's that aha moment, the certified data asset.
So let's watch it happen. Sally targets a really critical asset, the data set for anti-money laundering monitoring. She kicks off the process, and boom, her AI workforce springs into action. First up, the control validator gets to work, verifying that all the required controls are actually in place and effective. Next up, the lineage verifier starts tracing every single piece of data from its original source all the way to its final use, making sure there are no broken links or weird gaps in the data's journey.
And at the same time, the evidence auditor is automatically scooping up and reviewing all the documentation and proof of compliance. I mean, think about it. This is the kind of stuff that would normally take a human team weeks, and it's happening almost instantly.
And there it is. The AML monitoring dataset is now officially CoComply certified. And that badge, it's so much more than just a little icon. It represents a rigorous, automated, and evidence-backed process. It's a whole new standard for provable trust.
But wait, it goes even deeper. It's not just a simple pass or fail. The certification comes with a quantifiable confidence score. A 96% score gives Sally and the regulators a precise, data-driven measure of just how reliable and compliant that asset really is.
Okay, so let's zoom out. What does this all mean for the future of trust? Because this shift from abstract governance to concrete certification has massive implications for the entire banking industry.
This quote just hits the nail on the head. The industry is not suffering from a lack of charts and dashboards, it's suffering from a lack of proof. The future isn't about looking at more reports about governance, it's about creating trustworthy, certified assets that you can actually build your business on. And that leaves us with this huge question, doesn't it? As AI becomes more and more embedded in every decision a bank makes, from loans to fraud detection, the need for this kind of provable trust is just going to explode. The real challenge for everyone is figuring out how to certify that trust at scale, not just for one asset, but for the thousands that will run our entire financial system.